Good morning. I am Fernando Paniza. I work for the tech development team. In the last few years, I've been working on the smart devices generator for Android, and I'm here today to talk about Android and how the platform behaved this year, what the evolution was, what news we have in terms of the new OS versions, and to tell you what we've been doing in terms of the smart devices generator and what we will do in the future. This has been a very important year for Android because it positioned itself as leader of the smart devices market. It has record sales, very high up in the ranking of smart devices. So my green friend his ego has boosted. So what happens? We start seeing him, some people see him as a pirate, as the one who copies or hacks, or like Fabian, who criticizes our platform because we are so successful. So, of course, new things come up, like the patent war, as Nicolas was talking about on Monday, and the case of Apple presenting a lawsuit against Samsung for user interface patents, and Apple defeated Samsung, and so on. So, that lawsuit, I'm not going to go into the detail of this lawsuit, but this was something that led to a question. You always know someone who comes to you and says, I have to buy a phone, what would you recommend, an iPhone or an Android? Now, Apple said that Samsung's product was substantially the same as this, but the Samsung one has best performance and a larger screen and a lower price. Well, no doubt about it, we should buy a Samsung mobile phone. It's the best iPhone ever invented, as the Apple people say. But apart from jokes, in this type of presentation, I always tell you that with GeneXus, you don't have to worry about these wars in the world of smart devices, because with the GX, your knowledge base is there, and the smart devices generator will be in charge of giving you services in all platforms available in the market. The Generation 2. The GeneXus 2 is providing you the platform for this, and very shortly we will have the Windows Phone generator in this line of smart devices. So all the relevant platforms of the market will be included in the smart devices generator, and you will have no difficulties at all. So coming back to my green friend, let's see what happened with Android. First, a definition for those who do not know. Android is a mobile phone operation system. It was created for telephones. Now it was extended to tablets, phones, TVs, and so on. To have a better user experience, it's an open and free OS. So others are not like this, and it's based on Linux base. On Linux, it has a very good browser based on WebKit, and for the data storage in the device we use the SQLite database, especially in recent versions, and it's programmed with Java with an SDK, Android SDK. So what is the main characteristic? I always highlight this. It's diversity. If you want to buy an Android cell phone, you will find many devices. The latest model with the latest OS, with the best pictures and camera, but you will find other devices that are lower cost, and the user will choose according to his budget. In terms of diversity, we now have the tablets. There are 10 inches tablets and so on, and many other devices that have come up, and they relate to Android. So, in June this year, we launched the last OS version 4.1, and Google launched the so-called Galaxy Nexus, the latest mobile, in association with Samsung. And they also launched a tablet. This is Nexus 7. 7 inches in association with ASUS. These are two very interesting cases where Google presents, when it presents an OS, it presents these devices to show the market where to move if you want to have devices for this platform, how they should be if they are last generation. Very interesting is the case of Nexus 7, because it's in the market of 7 inches tablets that is becoming so important, because it competes with other important players in the market of smart devices. Last year I said that there was a rumor that Amazon was going to launch a tablet using Android, and that happened with Kindle Fire last year. And a few weeks ago they launched the second generation of Kindle Fire with the HD 8.9 with new flavors added into the tablet, and we have also 7 inches. This is no doubt the leader of the tablet market in the US. This is the 199 Kindle Fire HD, which positions as the competitor for Nexus 7. So let's visit something else to see what other devices are available. This one I showed you last year, it's a Samsung Note. I said this is a very queer creature. It was neither a phone nor a tablet. It has a 5 times 5 inches screen, very small. It's neither one thing nor the other, and it has a pen to take notes. So I thought, I see no market for this. This is not going to be successful, and I made a big mistake, because this is probably one of the most successful devices by Samsung. They are selling 20 million units, and so they launched Samsung 2, and the family expanded, and they have this very interesting device, which is Samsung Note Tablet 10 inches. It's a tablet, it's 10 inches, it has a pen. It's an interesting example, because it will compete with the iPad as a tablet, but then it gives you an input with a pencil. You can draw, you can write on it, and it's a device that we will see what sort of response it gets from the market. Strange things also lead us to this diversity. This is even stranger. This is a Nikon camera. It's a traditional camera. You just take a picture like with any other camera, but on the other side it has an Android, so you take a picture and you can send it, you can tweet it or send it to Facebook, or you're in a birthday party, it's boring, you get your Android, you read your emails, or you do something else. So you use the hardware in the camera and you have an Android inside. It's very innovative. I was very surprised to see this product. The manufacturer is Nikon, a brand that has nothing to do with telephones or tablets. So they went into the Android OS with a new idea. Let's see what comes out of this. The last example in terms of diversity in this platform is Nexus Q. Well, these are not a list of this is not a list of successful products, though. This was launched in June as a revolutionary idea, very similar to an Apple TV or Google TV. It's a round thing that has an Android inside, which connects to your TV set at home, and you can listen to music, see videos, or films in your PC. Why did it fail? Because it was focusing on a premium line. It cost $299, while the competitors sell for $100. And they just offer that. Nicolas brought it to me. I tested it. I listened to music, watched videos. It has an Android. What else can I do? Can I install applications? Can I do things with it? Well, the user cannot see the Android and cannot use other applications, so it doesn't provide many features. The emphasis was on the design and marketing, but they pay no attention to the features that would make it an original product. So this is going to be the first social streaming media player, but it's probably going to be the last as well. If you want a Nexus Q, mine is on sale. I have one, I don't need it. The price is really low. We'll talk about it after the presentation. If Victor Villar is here, call Victor. He speaks wonders of this product. But let's be serious, let's go into numbers. This was a fabulous year for Android because every single day we activated 1.3 million new Android devices each day. So these are on the streets. It's an overwhelming figure. Last year it was 500,000, but from 1 year to the next we went up 210%. Last year I showed you this evolution graph to show how market share progressed. And I said Android had grown a lot. This is up to the year 2011, according to last year's graph. I showed how much it had grown due to Symbian collapse, and many moved from Symbian to Android. But they were reaching 50% of the market, and I was sure this growth was not going to be projected. But reality always surprises us, and the growth continued. It's around 65% today. This means that out of 3 smartphones that are sold in the world, 2 are Android, or 1.94. But that's very important ratio. And look in this graph, Symbian collapsed absolutely, which is surprising. The Symbian manufacturers moved to Android. And then BlackBerry is surprising because there was a drop in sales in recent years. And then Microsoft at the bottom. With the phone 8, they will probably start growing and recovering. In terms of the iOS, they have maintained in that 20% market share. These are percentages. Just percentages. If you look at millions, these are numbers in millions of units. This is taken from Nicolas' presentation. 2 things were attractive here. First, he mentioned the growth of the smartphone market. It's clear, this is what Nicolas said, it was a revolution that was here to stay. And Nicolas also said that there was no clear winner in this. He noted that there was no clear winner here. If you look at the second fourth of the year 2012, the pink bars on the graph, no, you don't see who the winner is, right? You don't see, there's no leader here. You have to be an expert to understand where the winner is, right? It's very hard to tell you. You have to pay a lot of attention to realize. Well, this is not just about devices, this is about applications as well. The Google Store that was called Android Market and it's now called Google Play received 600,000 applications, and when I prepared this presentation we were in 20 billion application downloads, but last Friday it was 25 billion downloads. And if you compare the other markets, you can compare it with Apple Market, which is around similar figures, 650,000 applications against 600,000, and 300 billion or 34 billion against 25 billion, so the figures are quite similar. And we are catching up, and we will become very similar soon. Regarding the other 2 markets, the BlackBerry one and the Windows Phone have less applications, they are newer, and they have less downloads. Let's look at the versions of Android. Last year I told you that the 2X traditional telephone version we all know of. Then last year, because of the tablets, we had the 3.0 version. And by the end of the year, 4.0 version was going to be released that had the same OS and for tablets and telephones. The 4.0 was released, and today 4.1 was released, following the same line, maintaining the same OS for tablet and telephone. So what about the distribution of Android devices in the market? The 2X telephones account for 75% of the market, and then the whole range of tablets and telephones, 3X and 4X, account for the other 25% of the market. And there's a 1% of 1X, the old telephones, the legacy ones that are almost disappearing. And here we have to highlight that GeneXus is generating from 2X onwards, and if you use GeneXus, you will cover a very large segment of the smart devices, especially the Android devices. What were the changes in 4X that was launched last year and this year? There's a new user interface style that is making it more modern and user-friendly. We have new controls like an action bar that allows you to have a title, new action bars, tabs and splits. The tabs control is different, modern. And regarding the tablets, there is a possibility of having a screen split to use the space available in this type of device. So, what would an application look like in 4.1? As you see here, we have the action bar on top with high priorities, a sub-menu for less important actions, and here at the bottom, the buttons that we are used to have back, home, and recent applications no longer became on the hardware, and they are drawn on the screen by software. This has an advantage. When you change the position of the device, it's easier to manipulate because they change position. Another important change is Google Now, a new application similar to the city that Fabian showed. You press here on the icon and you ask questions, the program will answer, it will learn where you are, it will learn from you, about you, it gives you information on the weather near the place where you're located, distance from where you are to your home or to your job, and now in detail it has other features as well. It has a new style for notifications, which makes it look prettier. They changed the animations and transitions. This is very important. I mean, the transition from one screen to another, or transition across applications. This is very fluid. It's much better for the user. We added what we call the Android Beam and the Wi-Fi Direct. The browser has better support of HTML5, and we added smart app updates. When you want to update an application with this system, it doesn't go to the whole application, and you just send the changes that have taken place, just as to maximize the use of the broadband. Well, this year in GeneXus we did several things. In March we released Evolution 2, and then we continued along the line of evolutions, and we're about to release Upgrade 2. So today, this is what you have available in GeneXus to make your applications. First of all, the applications that we are generating are online. We receive the data from the server, and we have the crude of online recordings. We add data caching. If on a screen we already have the local data, we don't have to ask for them again. There are no changes. They are not refreshed. in terms of the actions in GeneXus, in the events, we have added more and more APIs with the device. This API that is in the external part that we use, they have been growing as we turn to new upgrades and we add more features. And regarding the interoperability with GeneXus, we allow events to call procedures and web panels. More in detail in this last version of the update 2, we are adding the geolocation tracking functionality. We can draw this on a map to follow the route of our device or keep it in a database to keep a record of where it went to. We have the multimedia upload. We have photo uploads, and now we are able to upload videos and images. We also had the possibility of looking at images, and we have audio playback to add to that. And another feature is to save images to gallery to be used later on. Other very important functions are the push notifications. First, this uses a new Google Cloud Messaging Service, GCM. You can notify the users who have our application. From the server, we can send messages with different notifications. For example, in sports, you get the results of a match. It's very useful to send notifications from the server to the final application. It gives visibility to have this push notification. Then, methods to monetize the application. You can put a price to the application and make some money, but there are other two forms of making money that we added in the latest version. To have ads, to have advertising, as you see here, in one application, and the other is the in-app purchases. Fabian explained how it worked, but basically you can buy things within the application by deblocking features or in screens. You buy within the application. This is a method that you're using to monetize applications. Apart from features, we focused on the user's interface to give more power and potential to what GeneXus can design. Here we have extended the set of controls to add this new action bar that was in 4.1. The new tab control is included. We improved maps and other controls. The case of grids is very important. We added different kinds of grids to see data in different formats. Instead of using the traditional vertical grid, we can have horizontal grids or magazine-like grids. I want to highlight that in the UI generated by GeneXus for Android, it has this modern style of 4x and 4.1 applications in all the devices, from 2x to 4x. All that is generated by GeneXus will look alike. So the action bar and the new tabs has been translated here, and the final application looks alike, and it has the same look and feel for the end user. The same application is the one that we install in the telephone and can be installed in a tablet. But if you want to take advantage of the space available on the tablet, GeneXus allows you to define different layouts. Like here in the telephone, I don't have enough room to do this, so I use tabs to separate the information. While in the tablet, I have more room, so I include all the information and I really use the space available more efficiently. The other point that we also emphasize in the upgrade has to do with user experience. We follow the Android platform guides. When we install a GeneXus application for an Android user, we are not surprised, and the application should respond as the user is accustomed to provide and to ensure a good user experience. In particular, if you come to this and say, lovely colors, this is I like. Well, to wind up, let me invite you to visit our showcase This is the address. This is where you will find us. And here we include all the examples achieved with Evolution 2 at our tech. And the community is giving its feedback, so you will see what happens with business applications, personal applications, portals, news, and so on. Please visit the site, check this. You have a link to download the applications that can be installed in your devices, and that's it. So finally, let us see what we are doing in terms of work for the future. As Gaston said, Gaston talked about the TILO version and the things that we will incorporate, and I would like to highlight a few things that affect Android. Improvements in the user interface, that's something we always try to improve and enhance, especially animations and transitions, so that changes from one screen to another, from one application to another, become more attractive. We want to incorporate this type of thing in GeneXus to have new visual rules that change the performance of different attributes, to add containers like panels that collapse and so on. That would make it prettier and will be included in future GeneXus versions. Of course, this API about communication with the telephone will grow. There are new features provided by telephones, and the idea is to keep on improving this SD API. In terms of Android, more specifically, we will try to add the support features of the latest OS versions, to add them to the generator, without forgetting to support the multiple devices that the platform has available. Then another track we have been working on very strongly in Android, it has to do with offline applications or applications with limited connectivity. I recommend two presentations, one by Gustavo Proto and the other by Pablo Masili. Look them up in the web. They talk about the status quo of the alpha generator in TILO. Some customers have urgent needs to use this offline. They have already started to use it. And on the side of Android, we are generating a local database in the device that we are also generating Java code that run on this device in order to manipulate this local data in the device. And we are working with an API to synchronize, to send and receive data when we recover connectivity and get data from the server. I have very little time left, but I don't want to leave you without sharing a few insights. On Monday, Nicolas talked about a revolution. Last year there was a round table. The topic was, is this the post-PC era? Is the PC dead? I don't know, but we are part of the smartphone era. There are more and more smartphones, and they require more and more native applications. Let me mention two landmarks. In 2012, for the first time in history, the sale of smartphones overtook PC clients in 2011. Vendors shipped 488 million smartphones compared to the previous year. In February this year in the United States, from the active subscribers of smartphones, exceeded by far the feature phone subscribers, and today there are more smartphones operating in the States than feature phones, and this reveals the growth of smartphones. Now, regarding native applications, I could bring you graphs that show the growth of market of markets, similar to the one Fabian showed this morning. There are statistics that say that 90% of the applications used in smartphones are native, but I chose this instead. It says here, building our mobile apps on HTML5, which was slow and clunky, was the biggest strategic mistake we've ever made. Those of you who were here on Monday, you know that this was mentioned by Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook CEO. 2 years ago, Facebook started with its applications for iOS and Android based on HTML5. They never got to the level of quality they required. They did upgrades and they had negative reviews from their users. There was no way in which they could attain the level of quality they wanted. 6 months ago, they started from scratch doing native applications. They did the iOS, which was published, and they're doing much better with the reviews and the number of active users they have for the applications. And they are doing the native application for Android, and this will be published shortly. So more smartphones, more native applications. So let me just invite you to take this growing path, use X Evolution 2, preferably Upgrade 2, which will be released next week with all the features I mentioned, and please create the applications for yourselves, for your companies, for your clients. Thank you.